Alright, let's take a pause here for a bit, and I'm going to have here a little tutorial of crimpers because the way I'm doing the video, which I'm doing by myself, and I don't have anybody that can zoom in and go in different angles when I'm crimping the wires and the connectors. You can't really see what I'm doing, so I thought, why don't I explain how this is done and how the crimper is used. So there's all kinds of crimpers out there. There's generic crimpers, which these two are the generic crimpers. This is for, I think, coax, it ends on coax cable. And here you have where you can put the pins on the ends of your wires with this crimper, and you have it with different sizes here with the A, B, C, D. So each one of these different sections here, you can stick your wire and your connector in there and you can crimp it. But the only problem with this is you're going to have to crimp twice, because on your pins, as you can see, I'm going to stay so this camera doesn't automatically focus here. So okay, this is a male pin connector, and as you can see, you have two sections here. You have one section here that crimps the wire, and then one section that crimps around the insulation. So if you take your wire and you stick it in here like so, and then you stop, right at the end of this first two crimping areas here. So what happens is then when you put in the crimper, this will crimp around the insulation of the wire, and this will crimp down on the wire itself, the strands. Now, so with the generic crimper, what you'll have to do is you have to put it into the crimper. I hope I can do this right. You have to put it in the crimper. You'll have to crimp the first one that's on the wire. Okay, hope you can see that. And then you have to go in after you do that. Now if I put it in there, it's not crimped, so I'm not going to be able to stick it in there. But I'll show you with this wire here, which already has one crimped. Alright, so you see how it's crimped here? You got the first part crimped around the wire strands, and then you got the other crimp part on the insulation of the wire. So what this does is holds it onto the wire really sturdy here, so that when the wire is pulled, it won't pull out of the pin. So when you get the first one crimped, then what you have to do is you're going to have to take it out of the crimper and then reposition it again to crimp the back part in whatever size. Now this doesn't have the gauge, it just has A, B, C, D. So you're going to have to figure out which size crimp you're going to have to use for your gauge wire. So this is the generic. There's other ones too. There's ones that are spring loaded, but they're basically the same. You got to stick it in, crimp one part of the pin, and then you got to go back again and crimp to the other end. So that's your generic. Now, working on motorcycles, any motorcycle. The dealers and the techs have their own specialized crimpers to crimp their wires. And but Harley has their own, and they use different manufacturers for plugs, for sockets, and connectors. And this one is for the Molex connector. This is what I've been using. Can't be bought by the public usually. I bought this off of eBay, and this is made especially for Harley, and that's what the HD stands for here, if you can see it. HD is the Harley and the part number, and what connectors that is used for. So this part here is your die, your topper and lower die that crimps the connector to the wire, the pins to the wire. Now what this this is for 16 and 18 gauge wire, okay, and it comes in a little container here. So the two dies come in a container, and then a stopper comes in with it. Okay, so when I bought this, I thought, because when I worked at the Harley dealer, I remember the crimper I was using, but I don't think this was the one I was using. I was using another one. Anyway, I got 3 different dies for the crimper when I bought it. Now, by the way, this crimper costs like about $450. But see, the dealer buys it, and then the techs are able to use it. It comes with different dies, and this one here is 20 gauge, and this one here is for 18 to 20. And the one I'm using is the 16 to 18. So this is 16 gauge wire that I'm using. How you use this now, this is the stopper. Put your pin in. Your pin will go on the crimp die, and then the pin will, you slip the pin in there, and then this will go into this little hole here. So I don't know if you can see it. I can't. Okay, now you can see it. Okay, so it'll go in this hole here and stop it. All right. So then, when it stops, as you can see here, you have the front crimp part, and then you have the rear. So it's separated, and then you have a little separation here. So when it stops at the stopper, when you stick it in there, okay, and then this little part here, because it's spring loaded, this little part here, when it sticks and stops, then that will hold it in place. See? Then when it's in there, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take your wire, slide your wire in there, okay, and it'll stay there. You don't have to worry about it, the wire falling out or coming out or anything. Okay. So how it goes on here is, see this little part here, it slips on there like so, and then you take this little thing here to lock it in. Okay. So then what you do is you push it up. You see those little holes in there. You stick your pin in. Alright, so the problem is here, because that's the wrong die for my pins. Okay? But I still can use it. So what I have to do is, I have to take this, put the wire in, hold it, like that. Then I take along those pliers, I just slightly squeeze it to make it tight. And I squeeze the back one to make it tight around the insulation. And then when I get done, I don't want to squeeze it now because then it'll be no good anymore. I can't use it. Because once you squeeze them, if you try to bend them out, they break. So it's like a one-time use type deal. So they're not cheap either, like 40 cents a piece. So once you got it in there, then what I can do is, okay, we'll take this out of here because I can't use it. So then what I do is I just hold it, I hold the wire, alright, and I'll show you with this here. Alright, so then I'm going to take it in, I put it on, I'll put it on the die here. And I line it up because if I let the thing just stick out, okay, here, I'll put it in here for you to see. Alright, so when I put it in, if I like let it stick out just that much, just that little bit, then that part doesn't get crimped. Okay? And I'll show you in a second what happens if you don't get that whole thing crimped. So what I have to do is I got to make sure I line up. Now with that stopper there, and if I had the right pin or the right the stopper, then I could just stick it in there, it'll stop, and when I put the wire in, it'll be right in the exact position where it needs to be, and then I can just crimp it. But with this here, I have to pay attention to what I'm doing, make sure this is just slightly over, and then I can crimp it. Okay? And then after you get done, it comes out like this. You got that first part crimped on the wire. Now if I bring it close, I don't know. Like I said, this thing doesn't focus. So hopefully, because I can see here, but I got a small screen also. So anyway, so that little part is crimped here, and then it's crimped around here. All right, so now you know about the crimper now. And what I had to do, you know, when I was crimping there in that video. Now here's the male socket, okay, and here's the female, okay. Now, after you get through crimping this, okay, you gotta line it up. There's like a little notch, a locking notch right here that locks the pin in the socket. So what you got to do is there's the socket has like a little mark, a cutout where this little notch slides into. Okay. So what you got to do is you slide it in like so. And you push it until you hear a click. And when you hear a click, it locks it in. But now, when you're crimping this, okay, and you don't push it all the way in, you know, into the die part, the crimper part, and just that little bit sticking out, this will flare out and it'll be too big. It'll be too big and it won't fit into the slot in the plug. There's a little slot in there. It won't fit in there. So after I used this for a while, it took me a little bit to wonder why it wasn't working, and I figured out, oh, it's not going, you know, in there far enough to you know, bypass this part and make it completely the same, you know, same round. Now this makes it square. This part squares out, and this part rounds out. So that's why there's two pieces here. And that's why with the generic, you got to first crimp this, and you got to hopefully that your crimper is going to crimp it in the configuration that it needs to be. And this is precise. This is made for Harley-Davidson plugs and all their wiring. One of their plugs that they use. There's other plugs manufacturers they use. Oop. So that's the crimping and end of the installation. And I thought you guys might like to have an idea how that works. If you're really doing this a lot, okay, this kind of work a lot. This is a good investment. But if you're not going to be doing this all the time, generic crimpers are good. You're just going to have to experiment with it, and you're going to have to either be lucky, or you're going to be spending a few cents here on pins until you actually get to where you crimp it good enough where it'll fit into the plug. So all right, so I think the explanation has been covered, and let's get back to the installation. I still want to ride my bike. Oh, one more thing I forgot. When I bought this crimper, I didn't have the pins for the wires, and I didn't have the connectors yet. So when I bought the crimper and it came with the 3 die sets, I thought, well, that's what it comes with. See, I didn't know too much about this, and but when I got the wires and not the wires, but the connectors and the pins, I come to find out that none of the dies were for that style pin. But you can see there's a workaround. You can still do the job. And also, I checked on the internet to see if I could find the right die for it, and it was really hard. A lot of people don't even carry these parts, and it's made in Germany. I even went to the person that sold them, because he had a bunch of them that he was selling, and he couldn't help me. He just showed me a picture of all the connectors, that he not connectors, but all the pins that he crimped on wires. So, like I said, there's a workaround. And I don't do this every day, and I don't know when I'll do this again. It was just nice that I was able to find, on the internet. Plus, like I was still working at Harley in the shop, and I thought having my own crimper. All right, I just wanted to let you know, because maybe you after seeing this, we wondering, well, why didn't I get the right die? They're not easy to find, and I think they're really costly. So, all right, I just wanted to know, just in case you guys see the video and you're wondering, well, why didn't I get the right die? That's the reason why. All right, we're here back at the bike. So I'm going to install the light onto the bracket. You can practice this a million times, and the time you video it, it doesn't go the way you want it to. Alright, I already put some blue Loctite on the screw. glue Loctite everything on a bike, every single fastener. All right. Next, I'm going to put the heat shrink tubing on here. Okay, so I'm going to put a clamp here, and another one down here. And then the plug. So. Make sure the wiring is all the wires are supposed to be. All right, before I shrink the tubing, I'm going to put the plug in onto the wires here. Now, let's see if we have any luck here. As I said, the crimper is for so you guys can see it. Alright, there goes nothing. In there. Alright, here we go. Beautiful crimp. Nice to have the right tools. Okay, hopefully this next one will be just as easy. Hope this is on video here. Okay, here it goes. There we go. All right. Got some connector protection here. And here's a rubber, you got a rubber seal here. That goes in after you put the pins back into the Alright, so let's they have to go in even, otherwise they won't work. Okay, it's in. Seal back in here. Lock this in place. There, we got it. This goes like this. And it locks in there. I don't want to lock it in there now because I want to get the thing all clamped down here the way it's supposed to be. Alright, so what we're going to do next now is we're going to heat the shrink tubing here. So let me heat up the heat gun. Alright, I haven't done this in a while. So let's see how it goes here. Alright. I'm going to put the harness now in place. So what I did with the last one too, what I'm going to be doing here, okay, there's license plate bolts here and there's two of them on that side. So what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to put this clamp here on the wire here, okay. Then I have another clamp here I'm going to put down there. And what that's going to do is going to take the tension off of here a lot more than if I just took the wire and just let it hang here, okay, and then connect it to the plug, and then maybe, you know, zip tie it here, and then just let it sit, and that's it. And see the tension on the wire, see how it's pulling down? But if I take the wire, let me go like this, okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm taking the tension off the wire, okay? It's not hanging, it's not pulling, it's completely no tension whatsoever on the wire. It's just floating there. Alright, so let's take this. And I really hate working with these because once you bent it and then take the bend out of it, it doesn't fit right anymore. And here's my license plate bolt. As you can see, my bike has a skull theme in it, on it. So that's in. And it's not even tight, actually. It's semi-tight. So if I need be, I can move the wire in and out a little bit to take more tension out of the bend. Alright, then we got a lock washer. And we just lost the lock washer, so I'll use this one. It's kind of tight in here. Just I don't know why I dropped the first one all the time. My shock is in the way, my fingers aren't long enough. Alright, so I'm just going to let this finger tight here because now I'm going to put another one down here. And I want to make sure that I have enough slack here. So I'll put this other bolt in here. And hopefully I can get this in here without dropping it. Alright, let's see if I can do this with a needle nose. Ain't gonna work. If you don't succeed first, try again. There's two different ways I can try. Let's see if this works. Nope. Wait a second. Alright, that's on there. Oh, pushed it out. Alright, now, okay, you want to see a trick? Alright, if you put your nut in the wrench, and you try to stick it in there and do the same thing as that washer did, it'll slide out of here, fall out. So, what you do is take some tape. You don't need strong tape, just tape. Okay? See that? And then what you do is, if you got enough room, this much room to fit in there, which I think I do, and you just stick it in there right in front of the screw, and just turn the screw until it catches to the threads here. And the washer came out. That's okay. It's there it is. So I don't know if you can see or not, but it's there. See, that's a good trick. So now, here's got a little wrench for the license plate bolts. It's shaped like a skull. I have a lot of cable here I can work with. Alright, now see, got the slack out of it, or the pull out of it, put some slack into it. Alright, got one more thing here to do. Okay, got the wrench in here. I can only hold it with this because I can't turn it, there's no room in here. So I have to use the, gotta be careful so I don't scratch the powder coating on the bolts here. I gotta tighten it with the bolt itself. Alright, there it is. Okay, so what we have left here is to zip tie this on here. We got it. Finally. We're done. So, next thing we'll do is test out the light itself. it works. All right, job well done.